Let's talk about creativity. So how can you be creative in your own way? How can you find your creativity? For me, it starts with imitation. Just finding people I enjoy, maybe in terms of writing, authors I enjoy reading, then studying how they structure their writing, how do they use words, but also not being tied to looking for structure or any way of learning. I'm simply observing what I enjoy. And that may take different forms. Sometimes I may study the structure. Sometimes I may simply read a book and enjoy it and reflect on it in hindsight. So it comes down to imitation. That's where things start. And then comes testing, experimentation, and trying different things, because usually when you imitate and learn and then you test, you have many different sources of inspiration and you begin blending all those. And then as you do more work, you begin opening yourself up more and more in what you do, in your writing, speaking, performing. And so you start dropping the fears that are there that hold you from expressing yourself, because you're afraid of not being good enough. What will people think? What if people criticize you? As you put in more volume, more work, you challenge your own mind, you challenge your thoughts, and you begin to see that your mind doesn't know what it's talking about. Even if someone criticizes you, your experience still comes from within you. I've had 1-star reviews on my books, and on a good day, I don't feel anything. On a bad day, it may sting. So it depends on your filter and where you're looking from. You feel your thoughts. So if you give meaning to a 1-star review and say, okay, this means my book will never sell, you'll feel that. And if you get a lot of 1-star reviews, then maybe there's something that needs to be fixed. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of things we always need to learn. So you imitate, you test, you begin to see that how your fears are holding you back and how your mind is telling you things that aren't true. You put in the volume and you begin to see that you have expectations of yourself. You hold yourself to a high standard and you suffer because of it, because you think you should be better than what you are. So that can easily lead to not putting in any work because you don't think you're good enough. And this expectation is something that you've learned. You've taken it in from the outside world. You watch all these artists and creators be better than you, or what you perceive to be better, and then you judge yourself. You compare how you perceive yourself to your image of those creators. And then you feel the discrepancy. You feel that you aren't good enough. But this is, you could say, a mirage of your mind, because your mind, when you think that you aren't good enough, you feel that. You feel the negativity, which leads to behavior which isn't conducive to becoming better. And this leads me to the point of enjoying your work, not being focused on the rewards of what you'll get, what people will say or not say, and instead learning to enjoy what you do. So if I'm creating this video, just enjoying recording this, not thinking about, oh, will you like this? Will you subscribe? What will happen if you don't, or if something goes wrong? So there's more a focus on right here, right now, instead of in the future or what I imagine the future to be. And when you focus right here, you have more energy to put in your work. And the more you go through this cycle of just putting in the work, putting in more work, and you can see my videos from the past. I think I have videos from 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe more. You can see me in those videos and you can compare that to today. And in those early videos I felt very uncomfortable, very anxious, and today I feel less so. Sometimes I still feel anxious, but it's all about me putting in the work. It's not my business to compare myself to someone else. I can learn from someone else, but the incorporation of what I learn comes from what I feel interested in doing, what I feel called to learn about. So that doesn't mean that I just do things I enjoy, because sometimes I enjoy the struggle. So it's a deeper sense of satisfaction and fulfillment of struggling with something. But that's a difference you have to learn for yourself, learning a struggle that's enjoyable and learning a struggle that's forced, because you want to get somewhere or be someone or conform to an external idea of what creativity is. And that brings me to letting go of the idea of creativity. There's no one way of being creative, and you begin to be creative in your own way when you start seeing through the concepts and ideas of creativity. Every country, every person has their own idea of what creativity is, how you should write, how you should paint or dance or be in the world. But there's just living. When you go beyond those ideas, you just live and you are yourself. You are creative in your own way. You may be successful or not, you may be famous or not. But when you're creative in your own way and you enjoy your work, you do the work because you enjoy it, not because of what you will get from it. And the funny thing about being creative in your own way is that it may not feel special, because since it's your creativity, you live in your body and your mind. You know yourself in and out, and when you know yourself, there's nothing hidden. And it doesn't necessarily feel magical, because magic happens in the hidden places. Magic is amazing when you don't understand what's happening, you just see magic. So someone else may say to you, "That's amazing that you can do that." And you say, "Well, it's nothing special." So saying that is in a way you finding your creativity. Once you get beyond all your fears, and I'm not saying you'll never have fears, because I still have fears, but it's a way of relating to your thinking and your experience. You're at peace with being anxious, being afraid, but you're still doing the work because that's what you feel called to do. So being creative in your own way, it's a lot about psychological freedom and seeing that you feel your own thinking, your experience comes from within you, which means success won't make you happy. Being famous won't make you happy, because happiness comes and goes, and there's not a problem with that. We're human. And so as you see this more and more, you start to be at peace with your experience. You start to just relax. You don't have to conform to these ideas you have about how you should live and how you should be creative and this and that. So I'll stop there. Like and subscribe and click all the buttons, and I'll see you soon.